When the Mongol Empire is discussed, one name dominates the narrative: Genghis Khan. Yet empires are not built by leaders alone. Behind sweeping conquests and rapid expansion, there are planners, individuals who translate ambition into operational reality. One of the most significant among them was Subutai. Was not born into aristocracy. He was not a tribal prince. Historical sources describe him as the son of a blacksmith. In a society structured around hierarchy and lineage, this origin makes his rise remarkable. But the Mongol military system valued competence over birth, and Subutai proved indispensable. Unlike many commanders of his time, Subutai's strength was not personal combat prowess alone. His reputation was built on logistics, coordination, intelligence gathering, and long-distance operational planning. He served under Genghis Khan during the early campaigns across Central Asia. These operations were not simple raids. They required synchronized movements across thousands of kilometers, often through unfamiliar terrain. Communication was limited. Supply lines were vulnerable. Weather was unpredictable, yet the Mongol armies moved with speed and precision that stunned their opponents. Subutai played a central role in this transformation of warfare. One of his defining characteristics was strategic patience. While many medieval commanders sought decisive battle quickly, Subutai often preferred to he relied on reconnaissance units that mapped terrain, studied enemy formations, and tracked supply routes. He gathered intelligence before committing to engagement. This approach would later be visible in campaigns reaching far beyond Mongolia. After the death of Genghis Khan, the Mongol expansion continued westward. Subutai was entrusted with operations that pushed into Eastern Europe. These were not impulsive invasions. They were multi-year campaigns, designed with layered objectives. The Mongol forces crossed the Caucasus, entered the steppes north of the Black Sea, and advanced into territories that included Kievan, Rus, Poland, and Hungary. At the Battle of Mohi in 1241, Subutai demonstrated one of his most studied tactical maneuvers. Rather than attacking directly with overwhelming force, he coordinated multi-directional assaults. While one contingent fixed the Hungarian army in place, another crossed a river at night, striking from an unexpected direction. The result was not merely a battlefield victory. It was systemic collapse of organized resistance in the region. What made this remarkable was not brutality, though. Medieval warfare was inherently violent, but coordination. Subutai commanded armies separated by vast distances, yet they converged at precise moments. This required mathematical calculation of marching speeds, terrain assessment, and contingency planning. In modern military theory, such operations resemble deep penetration strategies in synchronized offensives. For the 13th century, they were unprecedented. Another crucial aspect of Subutai's campaigns was adaptability. European fortifications differed from Central Asian defenses. Climate conditions were harsher. Rivers were wider. Yet the Mongol army adjusted. Siege engineers were integrated. Local intelligence networks were utilized. Psychological warfare was employed to fragment alliances before battles even began. Subutai understood something fundamental. Fear travels faster than cavalry. However, it would be a mistake to reduce his success to intimidation alone. His campaigns reveal structured thinking. He divided forces not randomly, but according to terrain logic. He maintained reserves. He created false retreats to stretch enemy lines. He anticipated reinforcement patterns. These were not chaotic raids. They were controlled systems of pressure. Despite these achievements, Subutai rarely sought political authority. Unlike other Mongol elites, he did not attempt to position himself as ruler. His role remained operational. He was the architect behind campaigns, not the face of empire. This distinction matters. Throughout history, strategists often remain overshadowed by sovereigns. Yet without them, expansion stalls. By 1242, Mongol forces stood at the edge of Central Europe. The withdrawal that followed was not the result of military defeat, but secession politics after the death of the great Genghis. Strategic priorities shifted eastward. This moment highlights another reality of warfare. Even the most effective campaigns are subject to political structure. Subutai adapted again. He returned east and continued to serve in later operations under new leadership. Longevity in such a volatile system suggests not only tactical brilliance, but political awareness. He survived leadership transitions, something many commanders failed to do. From a military analysis perspective, Subutai represents three core principles. First, intelligence before engagement. Second, mobility as strategic advantage. Third, coordination over individual heroics. He did not rely on symbolic gestures. He relied on systems. It is also important to avoid mythologizing him as an unstoppable genius. Mongol success depended on composite bows, cavalry discipline, communication relays, and organizational flexibility. Subutai operated within this system. He did not create it alone, but he optimized it. European chronicles often describe the Mongol invasions as sudden and overwhelming. Yet from the Mongol perspective, they were calculated, phased, and deliberate. Subutai's campaigns demonstrate that large-scale success in warfare depends less on isolated battles and more on cumulative operational pressure. He is sometimes described as the brain behind Genghis Khan. This phrase simplifies reality. Genghis Khan was a political and military reformer of extraordinary scale. Subutai functioned as one of his most effective executors. The relationship between visionary leadership and disciplined strategy is what defined Mongol expansion. Subutai's life also challenges assumptions about medieval command structures. He was not aristocratic. He rose through merit. In doing so, he became one of the most far-reaching military commanders in pre-modern history. By some estimates, he participated in campaigns spanning over 20 years and across thousands of kilometers, from China to Eastern Europe. Few generals in history operated across such geographical range. Yet today, outside academic circles, his name is less known than those he served. History often remembers emperors. It should also remember planners. Subutai represents the quiet force behind rapid expansion, not the symbol of empire, but the system that made it possible. This analysis is presented within historical context and does not promote or endorse warfare. It aims to examine strategic development within medieval military history.